Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How's it going? Morning, Shadow, Chris, Tyler, Max. Hope everybody had a great New Year, great Christmas, good holidays, rest, all that good stuff. Morning, Sharif, Benton. How are y'all doing? We have 9:45 a.m. news. So, I had to do some refining over the holidays. Morning, Noel. Some refining, some tuning, all that good stuff. If y'all saw my year in review video, I ended the year with about a 57% win rate, just over a 1.4 risk reward. So I'm trying to fine tune those numbers a little bit. So let's jump into real quick my framing here. We have, so I'm kind of, here, let's go into this. The 15-minute, so we've had this run up, right? 15-minute chart looks blah. So I was waiting for this high right here. Let me move that. This high or this low to get taken. And at 9:15, this bar basically manipulated all the way down here to create this sell side liquidity, relatively equal lows right here. So now I was waiting for price to come up. Basically, let me drop back down to this 1 minute. Basically, since we did this rundown, I mean, so if you haven't, I was reviewing the 2024 mentorship. That thing is just so good. I did that over this little break. This price run up here took out this buy side in this area after 7 a.m. So you have this low back here and this high. This was our range. And then we have London session range here. Basically, this high is a stop hunt. And then from here, after 8 a.m., after 9 a.m., we created this high, relatively equal highs again. So after we created this high, this is where we had that run down, right into this 1 minute fair value gap, run down to create the sell side liquidity. Now from here, price was delivered well. So I was looking for price to run up through this buy side liquidity. It's already done that. So now, since it made this run up, we have this nice sell side liquidity. Price is either going to do what it's doing right now and continue running up, or it's going to come take this sell side liquidity. So what I'm looking for is I'm waiting for a stop hunt again up here, and then a drop down through the sell side liquidity. If that happens, great. If not, then I'm not going to take a trade. Let me mark my opening range gap here real quick. We have our open there. Measure out the midpoint, 611.25. There we go. And then, of course, up here, we have, let me go to the daily chart. We have this fair value gap that created, but then you also have this volume imbalance right here. So you have to include the volume imbalance. So I have this is your bearish fair value gap, and here's the middle. You have to include the volume imbalance. So I have that marked out. We're going up into it right now. So we do have that. So we'll see how high we keep going. But basically what I'm waiting for is for price to manipulate up, because that's what I want to happen. If I'm looking for this sell side liquidity to get taken here, then I want price to manipulate up first. because I really liked this buy side liquidity, but now we've taken that. So like that's it, that we've taken this buy side liquidity. So after 9 o'clock, the most recent equal lows is going to be down here. That's what I'm looking for. So it's cold. Anybody getting some snow? Seen a lot of the country is like getting snowstorms. Texas is supposed to get a lot of snow. Not down here in the Houston area, though. I mean, they're still saying there's a little chance, but I highly doubt it. Y'all get snow Wednesday? Yeah, California is like where I saw no snow is going. Yeah, I mean, they're still saying there's a little chance. There's a chance for Houston, but I don't hold my breath on that. Oh, it's cold out there? Yeah, I know Northern Cali gets snow. All right, so so we have 9:45 a.m. news as well, so we can't forget that. So I'm making sure I mark that on the chart. I'm still trading half my contract sizing. Because, with that terrible run I had in December, size down. I'm still going to size down now until, I kind of get things under control a little bit. And then I'll go back to my normal sizing. So if this goes up, though, we're likely to draw up deeper into this fair value gap on the daily chart and his volume imbalance here. But I'm trying to focus a little bit more on higher probability trades. And what I really liked about the 2024 mentorship is he kind of brings it down to because with the way I trade, it's I'm only looking for one trade at a specific time. And sometimes the daily chart or those very higher time frame charts are not going to be as telling for me. And so 2024 mentorship, he really kind of digs into that about focusing more on the 15 minute, the 5 minute, and the 1 minute. And that's kind of what I already did anyways, but I was just kind of like meshed the 2022 and 2024 model together. So see how it goes. Max, you were in Houston in 2021 during the ice storm? Yeah, so was I. That was crazy. Oh, let me get rid of this one. I don't need this one anymore. 928. Let's see. Have we had a fair value gap? We have not had a fair value gap on the 1 minute yet. And, once also, if you have both buy side and sell side liquidity, you have to wait for it to take one first and then go to the other. So just as a reminder of that. Yeah, Shadow, that's a high probability. We might not get that a fair value gap until after the news. We have 4.5 minutes left. So we shall see. Bought me some blue filter glasses right here. While I'm sitting here in front of the computer for too long, so don't strain my eyes. It's actually been pretty good. Although I have a twitch in my eye right now. I feel it twitching. I don't know why. Yeah, Amazon. It was like $20. They're really good. I notice, as I'm sitting at the computer, a lot of days, because I wear contacts too, so a lot of days my eyes will just feel like strained and just tired. And then started wearing those. I don't feel that anymore. Yeah, right now I'm just letting the market show its hand, letting it do what it wants to do, because it's not extremely clear at the moment. I do have that sell side liquidity that I like. You go to the 15-minute chart, because if you look here, but it just ran down here, so it may not come back to it. But what I was looking at here too is you have this high. Or let's do this so it's more clear. We had this high, and then we had this low right here, and I was waiting for it to run both sides. So of course it ran this side, then created the sell side liquidity, and now it's run this side. So now at the moment I just have to keep waiting. All right, we have that news coming out in a minute and a half. I always try not to rush into things too after it's been a little break from trading, because I haven't traded since December 20th. I did request a payout on a couple of those accounts I mentioned, so got that. We're all good to go. Try to build them up again. The rest of them. All right. 40 seconds. So this inversion is going to be one I'm going to watch if it inverts, which it should. Then right here will be a nice order block. If it comes down, it hasn't come down yet. Well, and that didn't invert yet. So it's still holding. Okay, there's the news. If this does become the high of the morning, then we have equilibrium right here at about 735 at the high of that opening range gap. I'm not sure if this will stay the high, but we'll see. Nope, it did not. Pushed up, made a higher high there. And I mean, this has pretty much delivered very well this morning. So that's a little bit of the issue, is that it happened like this drop is what I was watching, and I wanted this right here. But it happened before the open, so I wasn't trading it. And then this move back up to take buy side was the next thing I wanted. However, same thing. That happened before the open. So it may be done delivering for a while. Like, it may not come down. So just have to wait and see. If it doesn't, then I won't be taking a trade today. It may keep going up to the middle of the fair value gap on the daily chart. Let's see something here. We have, yeah, because see, this is going to be the -1 deviation up here. So it may keep going up to that. So we'll see. We'll see if 10 a.m. gives us a reversal or not. YM is lagging bad. YM's been in December when I was trading. YM, I noticed in December it was also lagging. No, there's no more news today. I was like, why? Yeah, this is pretty smooth up here for YM. It'll probably run up. Yes, it's pretty much same. But this week, you know, we have Fed meeting minutes on Wednesday afternoon. That's not, you know, the Fed funds rate, but it's still the meeting minutes. It could stall price quite a bit. And then we have NFP Friday. So, wonderful week to come back. Maybe not great. Like tomorrow can be iffy. Actually, let me see what else. I don't think I saw news for tomorrow. Oh no, Jolts is tomorrow. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Yeah. Jolts is tomorrow, 10 a.m. So that'll be nice. Then Wednesday. That's the only thing on that afternoon news could stall the market. We'll see if we get something in the morning. And then NFP Friday. So Thursday, I likely won't be trading. No news and day before NFP. We'll see. We'll see what the week looks like. $9.51. Still not much going on. And because it just created this sell side liquidity here, it may not come back down there today. So that's another thing. So we may be getting a fair value gap up here. So not very convinced it comes down. So we'll see if we get some major displacement or not. We have these little equal lows here. Price may try to run through those. But once it does that, we'll see if it displaces or not. Ran right to the middle of this order block. See if it can close below that or not. You can see how it's building support right here at the top, the open of this order block. So it's confirming pretty much that price is going to go up. Building support right at the opening of that order block. Trying to have a little more patience too this year. And being more clear with what I'm seeing. Like, try not to take anything unless if I'm really clear and things are obvious. Like, I wrote that down in my notes so many times. Make sure it's obvious. Make sure it's obvious. Don't get caught up in, because I a lot of times I get caught up in the bar by bar, which is good. You need to be reading bar by bar, but sometimes you just got to zoom out a little bit. Has anybody been trading this year already? Nope. Yeah, it feels like I've been trading forever. Last week you traded 2 days. Sharif, how'd you do? How was the market? I was watching the market, not like I normally would, but I was just kind of just glancing and seeing what it was doing. I wasn't really, I wasn't framing anything out or anything like that. I was watching with some stuff that I was learning to see how it played out, but that was about it. Nice. You were profitable? Good. There was a couple days that I saw that I was like, ooh, I made some good money on those days. But I just got to stick to it. Stick to my, if I say I'm not trading, I can't trade. Because that's what gets me, you know. If I say, oh, I'm not going to trade this day or that day, or I'm not going to do something, and I end up doing it, and then I take a loss, then I get mad at myself. Like, I said I wasn't going to trade that day. And then that's what can mess me up. More of a scalper? Yeah. What would you consider a scalp for you, Sharif? Like 10 points, 20 points, less, more? Because I remember when I was trading with Sniper System, you know, a scalp for us was 9 ticks, like 2.5 points. And now I'm like, oh, a scalp, yeah, around 10 points. Now for me, yeah, a scalp I'd consider for this like 10 points or so. Between 10 and 20. Nice. One trade a day this year, everything going into TradeZilla with detail. Nice, Erland. Hey, so be on the lookout. Probably mid this week, I'm making a video that I've had a lot of people. If y'all watched my year in review video, and I know y'all have seen my spreadsheet on here live. I plan on doing a video at some point this week that's going to give away the spreadsheet and explain the spreadsheet, but also I still use TradeZilla. So I'm going to explain how I use TradeZilla together and basically my system for journaling and tracking. So I think it'll help some people. That literally is what turned everything around for me. You see this order block is still holding up here. We wicked down to this fair value gap. The bodies are still closing right around the midpoint of the body of this order block. So we'll see if it comes down or not. This could potentially be another bullish order block. If price comes back up and takes these highs, then these would be a bullish order block right here, these two down candles. If price came up. That was one thing I was really not well versed on was order blocks. Like I knew an order block, but I didn't know them very, very well to be like, yeah, this is an order block. This is one to use. This is one not to use. All that kind of stuff. So I did brush up on order blocks as well over the break. 25 to 45 ticks is my goal. It's what your ATM is set. Yeah, for sure. 25, 45 ticks. And you know, a good thing about that too, as long as you manage your risk and your stops and, you know, knowing when to stop trading, as long as you do all that, most of these setups, even if you're wrong, will go 25 to 45 ticks or so. Like almost any fair value gap will do that if you just take any of them. So I've thought about that before too. Like just kind of scalping them. All right, we did get this 15-minute fair value gap here. So I'm going to mark it, just see if price can come back into it or what. And then we have some fair value gaps here on the 5-minute. We'll see. So on ICT's 2016 mentorship, John, month 4, he has a video just on order blocks. So that video for sure. And then where did I see it? I think month 2 of 2016, he talks about order blocks as well, but just kind of randomly throughout videos. So the main one was that month 4. He has a video just on order blocks. And it's not very specific, but it'll give you a good understanding. Like, I would definitely study that one. Yeah, the confusing part to me before was he would always say not every, like, for example, if price is going long, not every down close candle is an order block. But then on other videos, I would see what looked like a random down close candle he would call an order block. And I'm like, wait, how is that one an order block? How's this one not an order block? But he basically says it's a change in the state of delivery or into some type of liquidity pool, or like a high or low. So for example, this one, the reason why I said this was an order block, not this one, this is down close candle, but it didn't reach down into anything. This one reached down into and created basically a sell side, like minor sell side liquidity here. And it reached down into this 15-minute gap. And then the body closed up. So that's going to be a bullish order block. This one's not. This one came down here. This one you could kind of maybe consider a bullish order block because it did reach under this low. But then you have to see how price reacts to it once it closes above it and comes back down into it. And you can see how price reacted. It didn't react. It just went all the way down. And then this string, I'm saying it could be an order block if it if it can close above it, because it did reach right back into this fair value gap. So if it reaches into some type of imbalance, a low or a high, things to that nature, and then close back above it, then that could potentially, it's still a potential, could potentially be an order block. You have to wait to see how price reacts once it goes away and comes back to it. Then you will know for sure if it's an order block. Like this one, price built up. You want to see it. If this was a bullish order block, you want to see price building up support at the open. And you can see it did that. The wicks don't matter. You want to see the bodies build up support. And you don't want to see it close below the midpoint of it. So that happened here. Then it went up. And then it came back down here. Still kind of respected the midpoint of it. And then now, if price goes up and closes above this high of this one, then I would look at that as a potential bullish order block as well. And I'd measure the high with both candles here, measure the high and the low of the bodies and the midpoint. And then I would want to see price, of course, close above the high, the open here, and then see it build support here, or at least build support at the midpoint. And then react by going up. And that would be a valid order block. You do want to see, you don't have to have displacement, but having displacement definitely confirms it for sure. So like right here, if price would have just displaced up through this high, then for sure, then you're like, oh yeah, that's going to be an order block. But the main thing is, did it reach into something, a pool of liquidity or an imbalance, and then after it reached into it, did it build support at that order block or resistance, vice versa, whichever, depending on which way you're going. So let me remove this one because it's nothing yet. And then let me put and basically all I did was take a fib and mark, have the both points, the high and low that I select, and then just the 50% mark. That's all I did on that. And just saved it as a order block with mean threshold. And you can see how price came back down to the middle of it, but look how the wicks, it's still building support right here at this high. which is the open of this candle. So it doesn't mean it's going to, stay forever. But if I was looking to go long, that would be some good confirmation. Or if I'm already in a trade, I would like to see what I'm seeing here. It would tell me it could still potentially move up. And everything in between, you don't care about. All these little wicks, all this stuff, you don't care about any of that. Right now, you care about this low and this high. You don't care about nothing in between right now. And that's where before I noticed where I would look in between and say, oh, there was a little gap here, or there was this, or there was that, or this looks like it might be displacing, or whatever, and get too caught up in the in between. And that's where you got to zoom out a little bit. And until it displaces through a low or this high, it could displace up, but yeah, for sure. When in doubt, zoom out. And knowing all the news this week, it could be a spotty week. Like I really need to, like I said a minute ago, I needed things to be obvious. I need it to be obvious for me this week. Or I mean, going forward, really, because like I said, I'm trying to increase that win rate a notch, and I'm trying to bump up my risk reward. I really want it to be 2 to 1 or better. Because there's some days I'll have 2 to 1, and a lot of days I'll have 1.5 to 1. Sometimes even a little less. So I need to bump that up. And the only way to do that is higher probability setups, patience, and also that's why I wanted to really learn order blocks, is because I noticed a lot of times last year, whenever price would come back, for example, right here, back here, let's say I was taking this short here. Well, you see price reached all the way back up right here, right? Well, look right here. This is an order block. This is an order block. It reached all the way up here, but you have this wick. So when you have a wick in the small body, you actually want to measure the wick to the body. You can't make this up. Now look where it reached to. Exactly the middle of it, right there, and dropped. So I noticed a lot of times, because I would get in at the fair value gap, right? And so then you take some heat. You're like, dang, it reached all the way. And then you kind of like, is it going to win? Is it gonna? Well, it's because usually there's an order block sitting right there. That's what I noticed. And that's why I was like, man, I need to figure out these order blocks. Like, and I noticed this over and over and over. Like, what's it reaching for? Now, if you don't enter here, right, and you wait to see if it reaches up to the order block, you can either get in at the low right here, which is still better than entry, or you can wait to see if it hits the middle. But of course, you're risking it running away without you if you don't get in. But a little secret to that is, if this happens, you drop down to the 15-second chart and look for an entry there if it runs away. So if you miss it here, it comes down, then look what do you have here. Same thing. Comes down, you have a fair value gap on the 15-second. When it pulls back into this one, you can get in, and then wham, you go down. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to, and trying to refine that. So when you refine entries like that, I mean, yeah, you're having a smaller stop loss, right? So then your risk reward goes up. So that's what I was really trying to tweak and figure out. So entry down here, 738, or an entry up here, 746. Your stop would still have to be at this high. So 746 to 755. I mean, we're talking about a 9-10 point stop versus a 20 point stop. That's a big difference over time. All right, so see how we have this action going on. Again, I'm worried about this high and this low. Now we're taking this low. Okay. We have to wait for it to run up. I'm not convinced we're going to go down yet, because when you have a series of equal highs, and a series of equal lows like this, it's going to take out both sides. So now it just took out the low. It very well could be an order block right here, bullish order block, to come up and take out these highs. So I wait. Patience, and it has to be obvious. And see, it dropped right into that 15-minute fair value gap, which we still have this 1 minute fair value gap. So this is not a short I'm looking to take. I'm not looking to take this fair value gap short right here. And it didn't even form. Look at that last second. So this is likely going to be a bullish order block. And also, I saw a little trick is once price closes above here, if you think it's price going to go long and you confirm this is an order block, as soon as price closes above this open, you can get in and go long. And your stop would be below the midpoint of the bar. I'm not going to do that. But I did hear that's a nice valid entry. So we'll see if we close above the open. But again, I'm not like... So we did take the lows. See what I'm saying? We took the lows in this little... Of this high, this low that I marked. We took the low here. So now I expect price to run through this high. We did close at the lower portion of this order block. We still didn't close below it. And then now this one, if price can close above it, we may have this down bar be an order block, in which could also be a propulsion block, which is also in that month 4. And it's just an order block within an order block. And it'll really just like shoot it up. If this is going to be a propulsion block, which it'll get confirmed if this bar can close above the open of this bar. Get rid of this so there's not too many lines. Oops, I don't know how I did that. All right, so that closed. So now you could actually get in here when this bar closed, or you could wait to see if it touches this, or wait to see if it comes back and touches this. And then you would not want to see that it close underneath this orange line. That's where your stop would be. Or your stop would be at the low of this bar and close it if it closed below the orange line. So it doesn't just wick you out. But see, there it goes. That's like, and even if we'd have gotten this fair value gap, that's what I was saying. I would not have taken that as a short, even though it took these lows, because we had a series of highs and lows. And the fact that it took this series out first means it's going to go up and take this series out next. That doesn't mean it's going to run down. So this, like, even if I don't get a trade today, which I'm probably not, like, this stuff is very valuable every day to do. Like, even on your own, if you're not, if you're able to start doing this, then when you do take a trade, you feel good about it and you don't feel like nervous. Did I take a bad trade? Like, you feel good. And if it loses, it loses. You still feel good about it. That's what I'm really trying to, like, I don't want to focus on win rate as much. I do want it to stay up above 50%, and I do want to increase it from where I have been. But, as long as that, like I said in my other video, I made money last year just mainly because my risk reward. Even though I hovered around 57 to 60%, my risk reward was always around 1.5, 1.5 to 1 or better. So, yeah, just from a numbers perspective, you have to make money. with those numbers. So at this point, yeah, I believe we're going to go up and hit the middle of this, which is the middle of the daily fair value gap. I don't see why we wouldn't. And this being an order block here, see, it may come back down. It's fair value gap here. Watch this. Let's see what happens. We have this little fair value gap here, but we also have that order block. So let's see if it overshoots the fair value gap and hits the order block before continuing. Oh, we have this fair value gap here also. Like a double. Yeah, it's slowly getting there. But see, we have, so here's, it's in this wick. It could stay in the wick, but with it being such a long body like that, it's likely to hit the open. But it might not. You see it hit the wick. That's an instant retracement. We'll see if it comes into the body or not. See, there's the wick. Actually, let's see if it hit. It may have hit the middle. Not quite. Almost. So I think it might still come down and hit the body, but it may not because we have that fair value gap. But you see, that's the overshooting. It's like, you know, if you're taking just fair value gaps, like that's fine. But that's why I've always, and I've never quite known this. Last year, I would always say, okay, I'm in here, but I fully expect price could trade back down into this area because that's why my stop was here or whatever. Well, that's the reason why it could trade back down because, like, half the time there's always an order block sitting there that I wasn't really paying attention to. So to come back down and tag the order block, at least tag the wick of it, you know, and then go. And then the body closed like this in the upper half or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, it works. But, you know, it took a little heat on it. Well, why'd you take some heat? Well, there's an order block sitting there. So, again, this is why I wasn't very convinced I'll get a trade today because the pre-market delivered very well. And if you watch his 2024 mentorship, let me just explain that real quick because I got about 10 minutes or less, and I'm gonna hop off here. Because once all this happens, I'm done. Like it's made its move for me. It's delivered well. It's made its move. If it'll probably just keep going up into this daily fair value gap, and likely we have this volume imbalance right here on the daily. So very likely it'll come hit that. Very likely. And I know it seems like that's another 100 points away, 150 points. But if it doesn't do it today, it'll do it this week. So, like, you know. But anyways. What he explains, too, is you mark out, you have 3 time frames, 9 a.m., 8 a.m., 7 a.m. And after each one, you're looking for relatively equal highs and relatively equal lows and price to take it. So here, and if it does it on all 3, it delivered well. And there's really nothing left for me. So that's kind of the downfall of waiting for the open is, I don't know, I guess we'll see how often that happens before the open. But this low right here, it's in the London session. So when price after 7 made these equal highs here and delivered up through it, it created this high. So that delivered well. This is stop hunting up here. And then now price should reach back down to this low or through it. Sell side now because that's our range from here to here. This high to this low. Price should reach back down. So then after 8 o'clock, you look for relatively equal highs, lows again. And at this point, it didn't, like we had these lows. We didn't make relatively equal highs, so we had these lows. So what happened? After it came back up into here, it reached down, took these lows, stomp hunting, then made its way back up. And then after 9 a.m., you look again for relatively equal highs or lows. Well, it created it right here and right here. That's your buy side. So after the buy side, the first 30 minutes after 9 o'clock, you look for the manipulation. Well, where did it manipulate? Ran right back up into this fair value gap, manipulated all the way down to the low, that range of the pre-market range right here. So that since that happened, you're looking for it to take this buy side. And it took that buy side before the open. So that's clean delivery. Like, that's very good delivery. And since that happened, now it's kind of like, well, that's what I want to trade. But there wasn't a trade for, like, I could have taken this short, but you know, I'm not trading pre-market right now. Maybe I need to, I don't know. But we'll see how often this clean delivery happens. But then what could happen is it not deliver in time until after the open. But that's whenever I'll take a trade. So I'm actually probably going to be reducing the amount of trades I'm taking. Like, I'm not going to be taking a trade every single day. But I think what's going to happen is my probability, my win rate will go up because I'll be taking the higher probability trades of what the actual structure of the market is. And then being able to get a higher risk reward because of that as well. So, like, imagine taking this short up here. You know, that's 742 all the way down to 640. That's 100 points. Like, you're good. And you see how low resistance that was? I mean, so anyways, this is some stuff I'm working on, trying to refine, trying to master. So we'll see. I hope y'all stay on the journey with me and don't, like, you know, think I'm crazy and not know what I'm doing. Benton, I'm kind of meshed the two. Benton asked, after the 2024 mentorship, did you change your entry model? I don't say I changed it. I'm still like needing the same thing. I still need a market structure shift. I still need the fair value gap. But I am looking at the order blocks as well. So if there is a fair value gap and there's an order block, I'm waiting to see if it'll go up and hit that order block. I'm not going to just hop right in just because it touched the fair value gap. Now, like I said a minute ago, if it does touch the fair value gap and it starts going and it doesn't look like it's going to hit the order block, then I'll drop down to a 15-second and try to find me an entry. But I think where the change is coming is a little bit of my framing. I'm still kind of framing it out the same way pre-market, but I have a little bit more specific stuff I'm looking for now, based on the 2024 mentorship. So still going through it and learning more and trying to kind of piece it all together. But I think I have a little advantage of going through the 2022 already, going through a good portion of the 2024, knowing a little bit of the 2016, and it's just kind of meshing all together. So I think what's going to happen is for 2025 for myself, that's the goal anyways, is I really think meshing it all together is going to refine what I'm looking for. Refine the better entries, the higher probability trades, the ones that take less heat, the low resistance trades, and being able to get a better risk reward ratio. So that was my goal over the break, is to find all that. So we'll see. So we hit the middle. It's 1025 now. We hit the middle. Like, price could come down now. We hit the bearish fair value gap, consequent encroachment. We hit that. So now if you look at the delivery and price, this area, what I said, took the low. Now we've taken the high. So since we've taken the high and we reached a key level, a higher time frame key level right here, it could displace down now, or it might not. But it could. Like, here's a point now where I'd feel confident. Like, as price was doing all this up in here, like, I'm not confident yet in a short because we have a key level right above. Now we hit this key level, does it just drop, or does it want to continue up. So we'll see. And how do we know if it wants to drop? Well, obvious displacement, market structure shift, that comes in the form of this fair value gap getting inverted, looking for a breaker pattern. So that's the next thing I need to really brush up on. Breaker patterns are very important too for market structure shifts. So much to learn. So much to learn. You'd think after a year and a few months that you've learned a lot, which I have, but there's just so much to learn that you can keep learning. Yeah, Chris, I know you think I'm crazy, but what's important is I think you're crazy too. All right, y'all. Couple more minutes here and I'm going to hop off. If y'all don't mind, hit the like button if you think you got anything out of the stream. It definitely, I know you guys typically respond and talk in chat. So that definitely lets me know whether or not you think I'm halfway sane, like Chris thinks I'm fully crazy, but but yeah. Hit that like button if you got anything out of it. Again, I'm gonna put out that video probably midweek about the my spreadsheet and the TradeZella and how I journal and all that. I think that's gonna be a good one. Gold bullish buys, nice. You used to be crazy, Chris? You say you're still not crazy? You're not crazy anymore? Shadow, reading ears. Maybe we're just all crazy in here. We're traders. I guess we have to be crazy, right? For traders. Like, who else would go into a industry that less than 10% succeed? I mean, I don't know. Got to be some form of crazy. All right, y'all. I'm going to hop off here. I'm going to shut it down. And look, what I'm going to do as well, you guys should do the same thing. If you've marked up your charts, or even just go back to this video because all the videos stay up, and screenshot this. What I said, like, it delivered well. I just didn't have an entry, right? Like, I mean, you could make entries. You could take entries in here. It's not like the entry that I take, right? So, like when this got inverted right here, you could take this inversion to go long. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but screenshot this and annotate it. So when you see it again, like let's say, for example, you see it again, but this time an entry presents itself within the time that you're trying to trade. Like, there it is. I remember that. This looks the same. Everything repeats in the market. Now this is my entry. I'm going to take it. So that's what I would recommend. That's what I'm going to do. As soon as I close this stream, I'm going to screenshot this, annotate it, and it goes into my journal. So, all right, y'all. Well, have a great rest of your day. If you're going to keep trading, trade well. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.